What are the key documents that a professional fiduciary implements?
Okay, going back to the infamous attorney binder. So within this binder, I was going to say mythical binder, but it's a very real binder.
Yeah.
So within the binder there can be, or most often nowadays, there's a living trust. So the majority of what we see is some form of living trust. So that's involving activities as a trustee, where the individual who created the trust, or the couple that created the trust, act as their own trustees as long as they're able. So you take over as some form of successor trustee. And the important fact in that may be it could be a voluntary, as in the fiduciary is named in the document, or involuntary, because if a fight develops between the family member trustee and the other family members, quite often, or in a number of cases, I've been appointed by the court to sort out the family squabble. So, mom and dad have chosen a child or a couple of the children, but they've not been able to do the job. So again, under the trust document. And so the trust document describes all of the duties in terms of collecting the assets. And as you're familiar with your work, a single living trust can have sub-trusts under it. And I think one of the cases we've dealt with over a few years, the grandmother's trust is divided into 3 sub-trusts. And some of them are for the lifetime of the individuals. So there's the main living trust and then the sub-trust created under that. We have very few cases that involve a will. A few people are, I should say, smart enough to realize that they don't have to set up a living trust, fund a living trust. They can just die with the assets in their own name, leave a will. It goes through a probate process through the courts, but it's truly not that onerous. And if they're not leaving the money to family members, the statutory probate fees are not a big issue in their book. So I've dealt with a couple of probate type administrations over the last few years, but really very, very few in terms of the total number of my cases. Powers of attorney, again going back to the mythical binder, the powers of attorney are very important, and particularly as the administration by professional fiduciaries of conservatorships in different parts of the state of California are really very, very difficult. There's a lot of court control. The court's very worried about what's happening with assets under a conservatorship. Power of attorney is a very, very powerful document, and it would allow somebody like a professional fiduciary to control assets, so long as they're in the name of the individual, to manage those assets, pay the bills, deal with bank accounts, brokerage accounts, and real estate in a lot of cases under a power of attorney document rather than a trust. So power of attorney is very, very powerful. Power of attorney for finances is what I was just referring to, but also power of attorney for healthcare. And the associated document, power of attorney for healthcare, would be, power of attorney for finances would be for healthcare. So healthcare decisions can be made under that type of document, which is drawn up by the attorney. It's not involving the court. There's no court appointment of a conservator. You're an agent under a power of attorney. So very, very important documents. Some fiduciaries will act as an agent under an agency agreement. And what you can have there is, if you do have a family member who says, by golly, so-and-so named me as trustee, I'm going to do the job, but I need help. And that was the wise part of it. They know they need help. They can bring in a professional fiduciary to act as their agent to help them with the bank accounts, the brokerage accounts, packaging information for the tax returns, and generally as a compliance person to assist with the administration. So an agency agreement, I quite often act as an agent, not under a power of attorney, but an agency agreement, sort of like a contract between the family member trustee and myself. So quite a range of documents.